a spicy baka. We are live. Ahoy, matey. Do it.
Mayday! Come in! If anyone can hear me, my starship has been pulled into the anomaly. I find myself in a strange new world. It is a world with no sun, no stars. It is a world of anime. Comics. Here we go! Gaming. Movie. This world is the
Rogue Planets.
With your host, the Fat Mantis HD.
Hello and welcome to Rogue Planet. I am your host, the Fat Mantis, now in HD, and it is lovely to see you all here on Thursday at 9:15-ish. I want to give a shout out to my man Shaolin Iceboxer, always a pleasure. My man Mad Cat, hail Mantis, and hail to my man Mad Cat. Lanio, always a pleasure. And of course, we've got Rogue Radio in the house. Hello, all. And I would like to say, happy May the 4th to you. For those who don't know, this day, simply because the way the date is spoken, is Star Wars Day. Now, Disney Star Wars created a different Star Wars Day, which is like a month away, but we all know that's not the real Star Wars Day. This is the real Star Wars Day, and I hope whatever you do, it's Star Warsy. I don't care if you're cuddling with your baby Yoda doll or you're watching Empire Strikes Back. Whatever way you choose to celebrate, it's what's going on. I remember last year Rogue Planet did like a special where I had Bomb and a bunch of other pardon me, excuse me, we had Bomb and a bunch of other people just talking about what Star Wars meant to them, and that was a really great way to do it. And of course, Star Wars is going to be in the forefront, leading the charge of our topics for tonight here on Rogue Planet. We got Demon Omega in the house. He says hello from the graveyard. Hello, my friend. May the 4th be with you, Mantis, and may the 4th be with you as well, Matt. I don't know. I don't know if it was with me. It was a grueling day at work. I feel like the 4th should. Yeah, it was a thankless day at work. So whatever. I'm here with my loved ones, with the people I love the most. Lainey, thank you so much. But we need to get into everything going on in the Star Wars scene. Now, obviously, the people at Lucasfilm have to drop some sort of video or some sort of announcement today. Now, the first thing that they have done is on Disney Plus, they have released the season 2 of Star Wars Visions. I am a huge supporter of the show. I love it. It's anime meets Star Wars, random anthology series. I had a lot of fun with the first one. Can't wait to do it. I'm going to be reviewing it in the form of shorts here on this channel. So that's our first present for May the 4th. But, Disney Star Wars being Disney Star Wars, led by a complete idiot, clearly did something. Well, you know what? I will let you be the judge of what we're about to see here. Okay. So we're gonna watch ourselves a quick video, and it's something that was released for Star Wars Day. And you guys just tell me what you think of it. Lambo, okay. I'm gonna try to get this as big as possible. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Let's watch this little video, a little gift.
My name is Sharmina Betchinoy, and I am directing the next Star Wars.
Yes, and for those who don't know, as she already said, this is the future director of the next big Star Wars project. It has been hinted that Rey Skywalker, which is definitely coming back, it's been announced. They paraded Daisy Ridley up on the stage, right? it's hinted that not only is she getting a film, but she's getting a trilogy, and this is our director. And so let's hear her words from. I'm sorry.
film. Excited about bringing Daisy Ridley back into the Star Wars galaxy and in telling her story. I'm excited to be immersed in the Jedi Academy. And I think there is so much excitement around the new Jedi Order. I've always kicked open doors that were previously closed. And I think my feeling is that there is a critical mass of women who have begun to move forward in places that were previously closed to them. I've been a filmmaker and a storyteller for the last 20 years. And a few years ago, I began to think about what I wanted to do. Miss Marvel was coming around, and I thought about a brown Muslim superhero and what impact she would have.
Okay, guys, let us break that down because there's a lot going on up in this piece right now. And so this director, they are hitting every horrible, foul smelling, disgusting, rotten nail that Disney and actually Marvel got into the business of doing accidentally. Maybe it was an accident, who knows? To destroy a franchise. And it's almost as if Star Wars didn't learn a single lesson from their former attempt to do a trilogy. And so, what are my first objections to this video? Well, I couldn't help but notice that instead of the director telling us that she had a story that she's interested in or that she loves the characters or legacy of Star Wars, she immediately spoke about the only thing she understands. That is in being an activist. And Activision joining up with fiction and it hitting mainstream media has been the worst disaster since the Hindenburg. For you young people, that's when a dirigible fell from the sky, killing a bunch of people. And no, I was not old enough to experience it. But it was a huge freaking disaster. Are these people smoking crack? What is going on over here? I'm surprised she didn't say she was breaking a glass ceiling. I think if the video was allowed to go on, because this is like part of the video, I think she clearly would have. It's crazy. So basically, what she pointed out is that she's a feminist, and actually, that's actually true. Before the 2 episodes of Miss Marvel she directed, the only thing she had on her directing things were feminist documentaries. And she's doing Star Wars only fiction. The only fiction she has under about are 2 episodes of Miss Marvel, the series from Disney, a show, not even a movie, not even the scale that a movie, a $200 million movie would actually desire. You'd expect someone would have that skill set before you gave them something like Star Wars. So she starts talking about feminism and how there's young girls who need representation and all these things. And then she starts talking about Miss Marvel. And you know what the funny thing about these activists is? You know what the real funny thing about these people are? It drives me utterly mad. It absolutely drives me mad when it's proven that the reason they want to be an activist has to do with the fact that they are a narcissist. Now, I know I accuse a lot of people of being a narcissist. I accuse streamers of being a narcissist. I accuse myself of being a narcissist. Back younger, Roy would probably claim all his ex-girlfriends were narcissists, which is probably not true. But that word is thrown around a lot. However, that is what it takes to be a activist, a true activist, not just someone who's going to a protest. I mean, a real activist, professional. And where am I getting this from? If you notice, everything in that video clip had everything to do with her, nothing to do with the franchise she is embarking on, nothing to do with keeping the legacy going or anything like that. It is just all about her own thought process, which has to be feminist. And of course, in this narcissistic vision, this fever dream of hers, she is a merciful, charitable person who is blessing all these poor girls with more superheroes, or should I say science fiction heroes. It's interesting that she says, with Miss Marvel, I envisioned a brown skin superheroine and what she would do. Well, first, I'd like to point out you didn't invent Miss Marvel. No, you did not even come close to inventing Miss Marvel. A different brown woman who was also a narcissist invented her because she was a self insert character of Sana Ananab, an editor at Marvel. And they were looking for diversity. And she was like, why don't I put myself in a comic book? Because she had no history of writing comic books. And that was the best character she could come up with. So this director, who's already taken credit for Miss Marvel, she's like, I envision a brown-skinned female superhero who's going to save us all. You didn't envision shit. It was already invented for you. And however, like the typical activist narcissist, every part of her video was literally about herself and had nothing to do with Star Wars. Oh yeah, that's the problem in entertainment. She isn't being represented. Yes, exactly. Feminism is a cancer, says Mad Cat. And so, as you guys know, I consider myself a feminist. However, I believe I blame it on fourth wave feminism. I believe that feminism was an important and valid member of it all, of the whole scene. And then suddenly, like many activist situations here, it took a sharp left turn and just drove off a cliff. And I just don't even know how to get back to it. Her speech really was self-centered. It absolutely was absolutely self-centered. And so, say what you will about J.J. Abrams. You know what I love about J.J. Abrams? You know what? If you look up any sound bites from that guy, when he was chosen to do Star Wars, or when he was chosen to do the third one, strangely, right? Back for more, back for seconds, guys. He knows how to at least hype up the fans and say reassuring things like, I really wanted to be true to George Lucas's vision. Like in Force Awakens, he said, I want to be true to his vision, which is why I used as many practical effects as I could. He would constantly refer to the past and the legacy of Star Wars. And that's why we were so gassed on Force Awakens. Our hearts and minds were settled. We were settled in by this truly a con man. I think it takes a con man to make it in the entertainment industry, but certainly he knew at least what to say. This woman is so self-centered, she doesn't even know that she should be lying right now. She should absolutely have Disney write up some sort of thought piece that talks about the opposite of what the sequel trilogy was. There's so many haters of the sequel trilogy. I actually think that this next movie could theoretically bomb. I think I never believed that Solo could bomb, but it did bomb. But I think that it could bomb just on how much people hate the sequel trilogy. I think far less people are interested in going back to that story than they realize. And I would have actually, they could have gotten my money. They could have bamboozled me into the seat at the theater if they had simply been, we're gonna, if they had implied, they don't say it, obviously you don't say something like this, you imply that you're gonna fix Ray and Finn. They're like, we're gonna, if they should say something like, they're like, I believe that Ray and Finn have more story to tell, and we're gonna revisit it so we can get the full story. See, hearing something like that, maybe I'm a narcissist, but I think fans would love that. I think actually fans would be like, oh, okay, they're gonna fix Ray. But it had nothing to do with that. It's more of a cause that they're inserting into our science fiction. And now that we've gotten wind of it, and here's what I'm saying. I know there's a lot of bad actors out there. There's a lot of bad actors who have used the wokeness of Hollywood to cash in on it as a grift. They're making money on YouTube, they're making money on Rumble, they're doing all that stuff based on the argument that they hate the wokeness. They hate the activism. Now, here's the thing. They are grifters, absolutely. But their initial source of their argument is not wrong. It is the cancer that is eating away at modern fiction. Demon Omega says Disney has gotten too powerful. They really haven't. I actually think this could be the fall of Disney. Like, I actually believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Peter Pan is out, is it not? I have heard such horrible things about Peter Pan, and I'm not talking about the people who just saw the trailer. I'm hearing people just diss it nonstop. Now, I don't know enough. I haven't followed this movie enough to know if it's coming out on streaming or it's actually in theaters, but I understand it has gotten a lot of bad reviews, and a lot of like people are just not about that life. They're not about the Peter Pan life. I love it. Lainey saying my favorite word. She says, "No, Mantis, you are absolutely correct." It is out, and I watched it, and she said, "Not great." Oh wow. Um, Disney, Lainey says, "Disney's political propaganda. It's all ruining the best." Yeah. Matt says, "I'm not going to say anything about J.J. Abrams because I have nothing nice to say." Okay. What was the comment above that? Yeah, Demon Omega said crazy, huh? Because he himself cannot believe what they are doing to this franchise, running it into the freaking ground. Um, Peter Pan is trash. It is. And so even if you don't want to have an argument about the wokeness and, oh look, it's woke, it's, they swapped all these genders and all these races. Beyond that, just beyond that, if you watch a trailer, a story about basically a boy who has been enchanted by fairies in this fairyland, and now he can fly and he never grows old, and he's empowered like some sort of fairy folk or spirit of Celtic folklore, and he's going around abducting kids. That story, at its basis, both the book and other renditions of it, is one of the most magical stories ever told. It's fantastical and amazing. You go to Wonderland and you're not supposed to believe what you see. It's like going to another dimension. It's like experiencing another color in all its many shades. And yet, the trailers for this movie are just so bland and so weak, like nothing is new or happening here. I think that choice is so bizarre that it's almost like they didn't have budget or they didn't like put any thought into it. But as Demon and I were just talking about how Disney is probably this could be the fall of Disney. They've had too many losses recently. They have Florida kicking their ass, and we're gonna get into that too, because that's kind of a story too. Um Mega says, "I'll tell you what else is trash for my ex in Disney." Yes. Demon Omega with his one-liners about his ex. I absolutely love that. Um, but it is possible that if they have too many failings, they're gonna lose. Now, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is projected to be an amazing movie, and but I don't know if it's projected to be a winner at the box office. I think word of mouth is gonna bring people to Guardians of the Galaxy. Absolutely. Freaking tootly, right? However, even one successful movie is not enough to offset all the losses that they've had. You can't keep taking L's, you know? Matt says they could have at least released some footage from the Acolyte or something. Yes, so yes, May the 4th is such a magical day that they owe us something, and they should have really released some sort of clip or trailer or something. All they released, like I said, I'm in division. Clearly, Matt Cat is not in divisions, and that's cool. We can disagree, on this one, but releasing a show that you were going to release anyway is not a gift to us. You need to surprise us with something. It's almost as if like, is Kathleen Kennedy like, does she gone senile or something? Does she not know how to run her company anymore? Yeah, Disney will become its own downfall. Yeah. I got to see Guardians of Galaxy 3 tomorrow. I will try to fit it in this weekend. So many things to do. Who am I kidding? Of course I'm going to go see it. I'm probably going to go see it alone in some matinee, and it's going to be amazing. I hate to sound like a weirdo. I love to go to the movies with my friends. I absolutely do. But sometimes just going to the movies by yourself is really invigorating. It's really like a good thing. Of course, you do miss the conversation about the film, which is why I come here and make videos about the films, right? So I can talk to you guys about it. Kathleen Kennedy has gone full bleep. Never go full bleep. Yes, famous words from Tropic Thunder, classic comedy. It's a Robert Downey Jr. movie. If you haven't not seen it, you need to go see it. Absolutely. But with Disney Star Wars, I just cannot understand their choices. I can't understand why no one in the marketing department was like, Kathleen, this is what we've been trying to do for years. And it totally blows up in her face. When Kathleen Kennedy said, I'm in charge now, and she actually said this for those who don't know, I'm in charge now, and the force is female. And she has a shirt that says that the force is female, and then she parades all these little girls on stage with her who also have the shirt, and she's taking pictures because she wants to be a hero of these little girls. And so maybe I'm naive. I always thought that the point of having a corporation or doing any of these things was to make money. And so at the very least, the people who guard the money or the potential of money should have at least been like, I don't think this is a good thing alienating males. I mean, shouldn't the force be for everybody? It's super frustrating. It's super nutty. So she does this stunt. But have you also noticed something just in general about Star Wars, right? And so for those who look at the woke grifters or the anti-woke grifters and they think they're just liars or whatever, they're just fake. I'm gonna just pitch this to you. So Obi-Wan, the series, was not about the legendary Obi-Wan. He's in it, but the main story isn't about him. The opening shot isn't about him. The main character who's having an arc isn't about him. It's about Reva, right? A female of color, new character, probably miscast person. So that's Obi-Wan, right? The Mandalorian, and we all know what rumors are going on, but this last season has really made Bo-Katan, a female, take over the role as the Mandalorian, right? We've got the Acolyte coming out, another female main character, right? And the next Star Wars, supposedly the hope of the franchise, is a Rey movie. So how are we not supposed to feel that there's some sort of agenda when Kathleen Kennedy's wearing shirts like this and producing movies like this and shows? She will love long enough to become she will live long enough to become the villain instead of being the hero. Absolutely. Wonderful words from Batman. Disney and Lucasfilm will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Damn, you guys are hitting me up with those wonderful, amazing quotes. I'm loving it. But I mean, if this is what we have to say, I feel bad for us as fans because every time I feel like there's hope for Star Wars, there's some anti-hope rolls around the corner. I feel like almost as if like maybe I died a couple of years ago and I'm just like in some sort of hellscape where Satan is torturing me. And I don't remember dying. That's the trick of hell, right? Is that possible? You think, guys? Maybe just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit. But there is a little bit of hope. Has anyone here heard of the Trials of the Master? Who knows Trials of the Master? So, a special effects wizard who actually worked on Andor is doing something similar to the Patterson cut. The Patterson cut was an attempt to turn to turn the 6 episodes of Obi-Wan to a 2-hour movie. And so he certainly did it, but that's just cutting and pasting the movie is what he ultimately did. So Trials of the Master are going to be a new take on Obi-Wan where this special effects wizard is actually working, and he's actually shown clips of how he's changed the special effects and the scoring of the entire series. Sounds like a BDS title. Yeah, it really does. As a matter of fact, I should play this whole thing. There's a trailer for it. I'm gonna put you guys on. Um, so this guy says he's gonna release it this year, and I hope that's actually true. Which one's longer? Okay, the first one is longer. So yes, Nigel Trotter, welcome in, brother. He says so a Snyder cut. So essentially, it's a Snyder cut, but instead of adding time, they're subtracting it. Not only that, my man is a deep fake master, and he has actors on the green screen come in dressed as our characters, and he's going to add snippets of scenes to try to fix and correct some of the stuff going on here. I mean, this is pretty epic. This is epic in scale. Let's do this.
It's been 10 years. I'm not who I used to be. The fight is done.
Look how he's changed the planet.
We lost.
Jedi cannot help what they are.
Oh, he's also made them look. The aliens
Their
look like
compassion
themselves.
Leaves a trail.
Look,
Master Qui-Gon.
using special effects.
You still want Kenobi. He's gone. Stay hidden, or we will not survive.
Where is he?
Are you guys catching the subtle differences in it?
When the time comes, he must be trained. Like you trained his father.
You couldn't save Anakin. Move on. Be done with it. One last fight.
There's a Jedi hiding on this planet. Anakin.
That name means nothing. Master.
Blam! I'm sold. I'm sold like gold. It's on like Donkey Kong. So I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there with bells on. Laney says, interesting. At least James Earl Jones is back. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the greatest things that they're doing. God, may he live another 100 years. Let's just hope whoever takes the reins after Kennedy is more competent than her. It reminds me of when the Avengers first fight the Enchantress from Asgard. And she has enchanted all of them and defeated them using illusionary magics, and they're all messed up. And she's like, and what's your little gang called? And he's like, Iron Man says, we're the Avengers. And she says, well, for your sake, I hope someone more competent avenges you. We need a win for Star Wars. We absolutely do. Here on Star Wars Day, I mean, it's just crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. But those are my thoughts on Star Wars. Oh, one last thing before we move on from Star Wars and we get into some topical news stuff. There's also another horrible rumor. I'm sure you have all heard it. It's absolutely wretched. that it is possible that Johnny Favs will be leaving. That's right, the writer, creator, and producer of The Mandalorian. It is suggested that it's possible that this season sucked because Kathleen Kennedy and other executives were interfering, and they had promised him when he started the series that they wouldn't interfere. And so he finished out the season, and it is possible that he's walking from Lucasfilm. Maybe one of the only people who was like good, currently hired by them, and we might be losing him. So I'm about to cry. Lady says that makes me angry. Yeah, if that actually ends up happening, and if we lose Pedro Pascal, if we lose Pedro Pascal, I will lose it. If Pedro Pascal decides to walk away from The Mandalorian, I just, why can't we have nice things? Why can't we have nice things? The replacement is getting replaced. Yeah. If he somehow doesn't last longer than her, that's just upsetting, right? But that's Star Wars for you. It's an emotional roller coaster, isn't it? And we love it so much. That's what we complain because we protect it so much. It's important to us to protect this franchise. But moving on, I was wondering if you guys have been following anything going on with the Tucker Carlson firing. For those who don't know, Tucker Carlson is a talking head and usually considered a loudmouth in the conservative scene. He is the face and voice of Fox News. Now, he comes off as a very arrogant white dude. Yes, that is absolutely his thing. He comes from money. He absolutely comes from, he's filthy rich and doesn't try to hide that. So he comes off as very smug and very arrogant in his rants on his show. He is a weeknight show. But what's really funny is that from a man who used to be perceived as an inhuman monster, while people have been leaking footage of him between his takes, I do wonder if that girlfriend is yummy. Yes, thank you, man. So you have seen it. You're put on. I knew Matt Cat would know the deal. Okay, so we are going to. These are what it is. Is this happens, and for the record, this happens to everybody from time to time. I got to tell you that anytime I've ever done a live stream, or an episode of anything, when I have a partner or people there, we usually get into conversations that you would never want on the air. And if you're out there, if you're one of those people like Lainey who did Mothership Mondays with me for a long time, it's true. Don't try to cover it up. Steve, I don't think is in the chat, but with Steven, we have conversations before we go on for Fanboy Modeling School, and we say stuff that is even too wild to put on the air. And so everybody does this. Everybody does what we're about to see. Man, I haven't been paying attention to anything recently. Oh man, I miss those days. I miss those days as well. But let's see. So he's put this out. People believe that enemies at Fox have put this out to belittle him and make him look like a joker. Let's see what kind of things he says.
Talking about sex, I'd love to hit some of the fine points of technique. But it's your show. It's totally up to you.
We can certainly talk about your sexual technique, especially after your tanning testicles last week.
There's a pretty big possibility that the leaked footage of Tucker Carlson you just watched was leaked by Fox News. And I'll explain.
Just kidding. Qualified on that score, I will say. Oh, wait, who watched this one? You wouldn't? Okay, I'm not, you know what? I'm not qualified on that score, I will say. I thought his girlfriend was kind of yummy. Just kidding, in case this is being pulled off the bird.
Which it will be.
Yeah, the bird. Hey, media matters for America. Go yourself. That's the first thing I want to say tonight. Second thing is, totally kidding. I don't even know what his girlfriend looks like. And if I did, I would not find her yummy.
So that was not when he was on.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. So he is acting true like a belligerent fool. However, in my personal opinion, from the range of belligerent foolishness that there could be something like Bill O'Reilly. We all know what happened with Bill O'Reilly, right? Bill O'Reilly had a he had a tendency to fly off the handle at script supervisors and lighting guys and just scream and act like a psycho. Out of the range of being a Bill O'Reilly or being a monster or something, I think this is pretty tame. He's just making stupid jokes. To be honest, as somebody who actually goes on stream and is not, this isn't the full Mantis. This isn't exactly who Mantis is. I'm more complicated than that. I feel like this humanizes him. I feel like this absolutely humanizes him. And so Matt says, what's crazy is whoever released this thought this would make him look bad, and it backfired on them. Absolutely. It actually makes him look like a funny dude. He looks like such an effing nerd with those Christopher Reeves glasses on. And so here's the thing. I don't think he'll refute that or anyone refute that. He is a nerd. So he comes from money. He's not that there's anything wrong with it, extremely white, uptight, and conservative, like super conservative. And so yeah, he's nerdy. He's a nerdy guy, Yeah, he's got those glasses and yeah, so Shaolin knows. Do it effing live. Do it effing. Yes. Bill O'Reilly famously flipping off at a script supervisor because he couldn't get his line in recording. It was absurd. And then Nigel Trotter says, sorry for being late. Just got done with the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but I'm fully here now to see the Carlson craze. Nigel, with no spoilers, if you could in the chat, tell us what you thought of it. I would love to hear that. I just want to know thoughts. So I actually think that this makes him look cool
on air. This is probably during.
I don't want to hear
access to that footage.
The break. So that's it. He's
that they've leaked. Well,
graphics these days generally.
Okay, so this particular video that I stopped on, Young Turks, I should have known, doesn't have it all. Doesn't have all his things, but I don't think any of it. The things we've looked at so far, I really don't think makes him look bad. I think it makes him look like a funny dude. What do you guys have any thoughts on Tucker Carlson or whatever? And where do you think he's gonna land next? So here's the thing. I always thought he was an arrogant ass. I'm not gonna lie. There are some clips I see of him on YouTube. I just see clips of his show. Sometimes he makes like the greatest points ever. Sometimes he is just a master of making good points. And I think that's how he became the voice of Fox News. I think that like he's a good essayist, right? I certainly don't agree with everything he says. Sometimes he just says some off the wall things. He recently got in trouble with Fox before he was fired for getting them sued for perpetuating not only the Trump re-election campaign, that it was rigged, but that the company Dominion voting booths were particularly rigged, despite not having any evidence of it. So, like every content creator, he gets into this place where he's running his mouth. He doesn't have evidence, but unlike me, he gets his ass sued. But really, they sue Fox. Nigel says Thor Ragnarok fun. It leads nowhere, but it was fun. See it, everyone. Wait, what? Oh, you put it on the level of Thor Ragnarok, I think is what Nigel Trotter is trying to say. We firing folks for saying stuff like this. Please, we've elected and kept worse in the highest seat in the office. I absolutely agree. But another thing is, I don't know, where does the line between entertainment and reality end? We know, I think everyone knows, and Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC are not actually news, despite having news in their titles. They're for entertainment value of people on the same political side. It's all opinions. It's not based on any facts. They spread whatever gossip or whatever zaniness they want. They don't have to be right. They don't have to be remotely right. And this is not the first or the worst conspiracy that's ever been pitched. Like, and so obviously I'm a conspiracy theorist. I talk about conspiracies all the time. As you guys know, I just got in trouble on YouTube. I got the strike for for the conspiracy hour. So I do believe in having freedom of speech. And I wouldn't say I'm an absolutist, but I'm pretty close to an absolutist on that matter. I think it's very important that we're able to speak. The thing that I got in trouble on YouTube for was speaking about a certain illness that went around and the way people covered it and the government and stuff. And we also talked about it's, the jab. And I was speaking from my own personal experiences when I was speaking about a coworker, but I was also speaking about my emotions. 99% of things that people say are from their emotions. Are we going to start regulating people's emotions? When a grieving mother wants gun control because she lost her child, are we going to regulate that and tell her she can't say that? Am I not allowed to say I have a coworker who was struck and ill from a certain shot they took? Watch, I'm going to get this video pulled too, just for covering that up. But I'm saying I have the right to say it, just like Rogue Radio, my partner in crime on that show, has the right to bring up her conspiracy. She has things that maybe people won't like to hear, but I feel like all these things bear discussion. Matt says, I never really followed Tucker and didn't really watch Fox News until 2020. Carlson was the only thing I watched. He was saying things completely different from the other anchors. He is definitely like a zany guy. Oh, did you not know, Laney? Yes. They gave me a strike. They gave me a strike for conspiracy hour, and it had to do with stuff we were saying about the jab and stuff. And so I thought about it. We're gonna do conspiracy hour just on Rumble going forward. It's only a once a month show and segment. I certainly wish it was more often, but that's all the time that we can schedule. But I don't like that. I obviously do not like the idea that they are censoring my personal thoughts, because 90% of the stuff that I say on the shows are based off of opinion. Look at it. I just had an entire segment about Star Wars, and I was shitting all over Kathleen Kennedy. But what is that? That's an opinion. I have a fiery passion about it, but certainly it's an opinion. The fact that someone can regulate that is just absurd to me. Here we got Princess Bex in the house. We got Rebuke TV, and we've got Gray Winthrop. I think these three were all at the same party or something. Apparently, a party I wasn't invited to. But welcome to the stream. Thank you. You guys missed our whole Star Wars stuff. We're on Tucker now. I've always thought he brought to light things no one else would talk about. For instance, he brought up a story to light about a Chinese factory being built in my home state. Boom. I agree with that. He does say things that he's very passionate, and he's very he's very set in his ways. And when he says it well. Like I said, he's one of the greatest essayists I've ever seen. The way he tells the narrative of all these things, and it's very good. And you're right, he would do stories that weren't necessarily mainstream, because at the end of the day, I got to say, another reason why I have a soft spot for him is he's a conspiracy theorist too. He has to be, Gray Winthrop says the Dominion voting thing was all about lying about a product, though. If you owned a business and some dick on the internet was lying about your business and making you lose money, wouldn't you want to sue? Yes, no, absolutely. Well, yes, but here's what it is. The thing that he was saying could be definitively proven not to be true. If somebody's like, Mantis's fry cooking machine burns you, well, I would have scientific background data that it's not likely to burn you, and I can prove that what this guy is saying is lying. And so he basically, the point is, they couldn't prove that they were involved in the re-election fraudulence, and so yeah, they got to pay up. It's close to $800 million. The censorship is getting what it is, and that's a warning for you guys. Obviously, I'm one of these guys who's dropping deuces on the hands that feed them. But on YouTube, the censorship is over the top. So as you know, Fanboy got well, that was supposedly a copyright thing, but yeah, Fanboy got something where they were like, they didn't take the video down, but they did say you may have had copyrighted material on there. And what it is, it's the algorithm's just way more sensitive now. They'll catch you on anything, which is why it's making Rumble look like just such a better home for us. I saw it. The Mantis did nothing wrong. YouTube be tripping. Thank you, Nigel. You know what's up. Rebuke says, no, I was on Rumble. I watched. There we go. Maintaining the Rumble life. That's what I like to see. Well, clearly it's not a party without you, Mantis. That is absolutely true. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Hold Up TV and to Princess Vex, because last night they did a stream. They did an audio only stream on back on Spoon, and I think possibly Clubhouse as well, but I was on Spoon. And the two of them, it was a pretty zany topic in the first place, but not only did they handle it hysterically, they handled this topic. But at the end, when you guys had clearly like, I don't know if you're gonna let me say it, but you got a little twizzy and it was hysterical. I loved it. So shout outs to you guys. Matt says, wait, it wasn't Tucker that was involved in the Dominion thing. It was Hannity that had 45 and Giuliani talking about the voting machines. I'm sure he must have. No, he did. He did. The people are talking about it all over the place. That Tucker did do some episodes about the Dominion stuff. He said, say it. Okay, yeah. So Hold Up TV and Princess Vex, when I mean Twizzy, they got wasted. They got wasted on their thing, and they're laughing and they're giggling. And the funny thing is that the topic was about hygiene. And so we all know hygiene topic, it just leads to, well, a lot of freaking jokes. There's a lot of jokes. Body odor, scent, stickiness, all sorts of gross things. It was hysterical. But yeah, no, Tucker, I understand why people are so turned off by Mr. Tucker over here. But yeah, Twiz, what a Twiz. I'd like to also point out before this episode ends, I want to do some updates on some of our stories that we've done in the past here on Rogue Planet. The first one I want to point out is Bud Light. Now, there have been different. I had heard some people saying, oh, the stock is rising. The stock is rising. The boycott didn't do anything. If you do your research, if you see the numbers now, even mainstream journalists who are on the left will even admit that the boycott is eating Bud Light alive. No actual credible source will say that they're bouncing back. They are taking crazy hits. It's getting to the point where Bud Light, I suspect that they're worried that their beer is going to spoil. They are giving beer distributors across America free kegs and products. They're just giving product away to them. And they're like, this is an apology for all the lost revenue that you've had. They've actually said this in an investor call. So they are admitting on their investor call that they are losing revenue. And just like Disney has investor calls, the investor call this week of Bud, Anheuser-Busch was not great. They were super pissed about the Bud Light situation. And so on the call, they even say, for starters, they claim, this is ridiculous. The executives of Bud Light claim that a marketing team did the Dylan Mulvaney can thing without their permission. They got the green light without checking with them first. I don't believe that one iota. There is no way that some little girl fresh out of college launched a campaign about and for Bud Light without them knowing about it. There's just literally no way that happened. But they're putting the blame all on that girl and the marketing firm that, Laney says, dude, no one is buying it at my restaurant. Boom. There you go. Shaolin says, yo, I saw the most manly Bud Light commercial yesterday. Blacksmiths, riding horses, fields of grain. It was so over the top. I couldn't believe how hard they are trying. Yeah, it's hard to respect. That's the thing. I do want Budweiser to return to that. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I get a little like, I'm like, this is what a beer should be. This is absolute, blacksmiths, as Shaolin says. But yeah, I wanted to go back to that, but the fact that they're trying so hard to turn on it, it's just hard to respect right now. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Rebuke says it's ma'am. It's ma'am. So I don't know. So that's just a catch up. I wanted to just clarify because I was getting some naysayers. Both Fanboy Modeling School and Rogue Planet have at least mentioned the Bud Light crisis here. Now, the question is, what they really need to do to make it up for me is give me free Bud Light, not beer distributors. In the investor call, they point out that all these beer distributors are mom and pop shops, and they're financially impacted by the boycott. That's true, and I do feel bad for their families. However, Mantis is trying to get his drink on. Yo, Bud Light, if you want me to come back to you, how about you give me a free case, man? That's what the Mantis thinks. And finally, moving on to Disney. Now, I actually discovered what I'm about to talk about from the channel Legal Eagle. Legal Eagle was the channel we did last week when we talked about the Reedy Creek situation in Florida and Disney. He actually did an amazing breakdown video. He's talking about how Disney was able to bamboozle Florida into giving them complete control and ownership back and just usurping them with the clever use of contract writing. However, Legal Eagle has now countered this idea, his own very thesis, because he has discovered that Disney is in breach of a different rule in validating the contract completely. The reason I'm not putting his video on is here on Rogue Planet, I do not like jockeying on any one YouTuber's videos. I will not constantly keep people's videos up in my stream. This is the Mantis' stream. Thank you, Legal Eagle, for putting me on, but that's it. He's some pretty boy anyway with more followers than me, so he's fine. He doesn't need the street cred. The misgendered GameStop lady. What a yes. I actually thought for a second maybe I should put it on, but I don't know. Maybe I'll get a strike. For those of you who do not know, this is another evolution of YouTube that came along with the hyper censorship. Because of the whole situation with Matt Walsh and his war with Dylan Mulvaney, they have decided that they will demonetize. Actually, the first time you get a strike and 7 days off. But they will demonetize any videos where you misgender somebody. Speaking of censorship. And so to me, that is so over the top. As you remember, those were the rules on Twitter. Those were during the dark days of Twitter where you couldn't say anything on Twitter. Unless you were a raving leftist with crazy ideas, you were not allowed to speak, right? And so now that Elon has given us back our right to free speech, at least on that app, more or less, now YouTube is adopting the same bad policies. And that says, I went to Chuck E. Cheese the other week for my kid's birthday party. They only had one beer that wasn't Anheuser-Busch. I got that one. I'll never buy it again. Oh, the replacements are not doing. You know what I actually want to? I was actually planning on drinking those on my birthday. I never did. There's Ultra Right beer, and it's not super expensive. It's just like it's a grift. And so I actually just want to try it, but it's $20 a 6-pack. It's a bit much for an unknown beer, right? Rebuke says, wait, Mantis, are you able to your strike removed? So no, they basically said, and so actually, I'm going to be real with you on what happened. This isn't like an editing thing when you have copyrighted material and they let you get, they like, guys, when you have copyrighted material on there, YouTube makes you take it out. You have to approve of removing that section of the video, and then they'll let it play, and you won't lose likes, you won't lose whatever. And that's how Fanboy's been able to get from the few times this, I think this is like the second time it's ever happened. The other time was with the Lizzo at the Grammys, which we should have known better. But in terms of this, they don't give you an option. I woke up to an email and it starts off of them just being super polite to you. They're just like, hey, Mantis, good morning. By the way, had to take your video down. You're a bigot and a conspiracy theorist. And you have to click on another link to find out what your problem was. And out of all the things that we were talking about in this video, we talk about all sorts of conspiracies. Their issue was the illness conversation. And so I had shared an anecdote. I don't know if it's an anecdote, but it's a short story about someone I used to work with. And it's a true story. I literally just spoke the truth. And they had a problem with that. So and so they took it and they said, since this is your first time, they're like, it's not a strike, but if it happens again, they're like, if it happens again, you will get a strike and you will be banned for 7 days. So basically they're like giving me a warning, but they took the video down and I can't put it back up. So it's almost like a half strike. What if the person changes their mind and goes back to the original gender? Are they going to undemonetize? Yeah, and so that was one of the problems. I think obviously most misgenderings that happen on the internet are probably on purpose, probably. But what if we don't know? And this is a serious question. This is not me being a troll. What if you don't know and you have questions? What if the person does not look like the gender that they profess? I mean, that happens to me all the time. I'm going to be real with you guys. When I see somebody with a full beard, I obviously think one thing as opposed to the other. And so the way this rule can be totally abused, absolutely totally abused. I feel like there's so many ways that what is misgendering. It's an enigma, really. But I think before I take my leave, guys, and I drink some beer for the evening that is not from Anheuser-Busch, I would love it if you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and keep tuning in to Voice of the Fat Mantis, guys. How's everybody doing? I hope you have a wonderful May the 4th. Remember, jump on Star Wars tonight.
It is a world with no sun, no stars. It is a world of...
It's this whole misgendering thing is stupid. It could be about accident. It could be... I mean, don't even get me started on the subjective nature of it. I have to believe somebody else's whatever they're going through, or I get in trouble.
Here we go! Gaming!
Hey, oh my God, P Love, you made it for the end.
Ooh.
This is me doing the outro. But it is always good to see you. I understand people have lives. You can't constantly keep watching fantasy streams all week long. Although I hope you do.
This world is the...
Anyway, this is Batman signing off. Thank you for coming to Rogue Planet. I will see you on the flippity flop. Until next time, guys.
HD.
Peace.